And the second category is microwave transmission. So you can see the image here. So these are microwave relay stations, which are nothing but tall towers, usually 40 to 50 feet high, equipped with antennas. And they are used to send. So this is a sending relay station, and this is a receiving station. So they are mainly these microwave relay stations are used to send and receive high frequency microwave signals, and they even act as repeater to extend the signal over longer distances. And you can see line of sight transmission. Say microwave communication works only when antennas are in direct view to each other. So they should see each other and they should be properly aligned, which is nothing but line of sight. And this picture it shows a line of sight distance of about 30 miles between stations. So this line of sight should be about 30 miles. And Earth's curvature limits this line of sight range. So towers are spaced 20 to 30 miles apart. And you can find this main microwave, which acts as a central relay or hub transmitting and receiving signals from surrounding stations. It may connect to other networks or base stations also. So, coming to the working process here, the transmission or the transmitting station converts the data into microwave signals. The signal travels in a straight line to the next relay station. The relay station amplifies and forward the signal. So all the electromagnetic waves having frequency between 1 gigahertz and 30 gigahertz are considered to be microwaves. And these are usually unidirectional in nature. So the signal transmission takes place only in one direction. And so as it follows this line of sight propagation, sending and receiving antennas should be aligned. It uses line of sight transmission. Two types of antennas are used for microwave communication, that is a parabolic dish and horn. Let us see the structure of that. So first coming to the dish antenna. So it is a large curved parabolic reflector with a small receiver or transmitter placed at its focus. So this is receiving the parallel waves from a satellite. So you can see multiple parallel waves moving towards this curved dish surface. So they'll hit this curved dish surface and they are reflected back. So all these waves, when they reach this curved dish surface, they'll be reflected back and all of them will converge at one point. So this is nothing but the focus point where the convergence of all these signals happen. And when transmitting, signals from the transmitter at the focus are reflected by the dish into narrow high gain beam. So here a transmitter or a receiver will be placed which will collect all these waves. And this is mainly used in satellite TV reception or radar systems. The main point of this parabolic dish is the parabolic shape focuses energy, giving high gain in directionality. Then we have the second one, horn antenna, a flaring metal waveguide shaped like a horn. So this is a waveguide. And when receiving, incoming waves enter like this, enter the horn, are funneled into this waveguide and are carried to the receiver. When transmitting, radio frequency energy travels up the waveguide, expand through the horn, and radiates outwards. So they'll radiate outward like this as a directional beam. It is mainly used in microwave communication, satellite tracking, and the main point of this horn antenna is the horn gradually transitions between the waveguide and the free space, minimizing signal reflection and loss. So here you can see there is a signal reflection back, whereas here that signal reflection problem was minimized. Then coming to the types of microwaves, there are two types of microwaves. One is terrestrial microwave, and this is the picture of that. So microwave towers, which are nothing but the rectangular shapes here. So all these are microwave towers. These towers are equipped with parabolic dish antennas that send and receive microwave signals. They are positioned in a line of sight arrangement, meaning each tower must be directly visible to the next for the signal to transmit. So this is how. So all these towers, they should face each other so that the signal will transmit from one tower to another tower. And the microwave signals follow zigzag lines. So the zigzag path here, it represents microwave beams traveling between towers. What this represents? Microwave beams traveling between towers. And the microwaves are a type of electromagnetic wave with frequency typically between 1 gigahertz and 300 gigahertz. So we saw that point just now. And because the earth is curved here, microwave towers need to be placed at regular intervals, usually 30 to 50 kilometers apart. So the distance between these two towers, it should be between 30 to 50 kilometers apart so that each tower can see the next one. And also this orange circles here, it represents repeater stations. They are mainly used to boost and retransmit the signal to maintain quality over long distances. And without these repeaters, so these are the repeaters, right? So without these repeaters, signal strength would weaken due to attenuation. And here, the data which is in the form of voice, video, internet, etc., that is mainly converted into microwave signal at one station. The station antenna sends a signal to the next tower. Each tower receives, amplifies, and retransmits the signal until it reaches the destination part. So that signal will travel through all the transmitters and finally reach the destination. Here you can see this is mainly suitable for long distance telephone services and uses a radio frequency spectrum between 2 to 40 gigahertz. And here the spacing between the stations should be 30 miles apart. Usually, minimum it should be 30, or you can maintain between 30 to 50 also. Terrestrial microwaves are cheaper. This laying fiber optic or copper cables over long distances is very expensive because it requires digging trenches, buying and laying cables, and ongoing maintenance. Whereas this terrestrial microwave uses towers and antennas to send signals wirelessly. So the cost is mainly for setting up the towers and maintaining them, much cheaper for long distance links. And also, it does not require land for installation. So, microwave links are point to point through the air. So, there is no need to purchase or lease land for laying cables just for the tower sites. And it provides easy communication. So, the antennas on trains, they can communicate with trackside microwave stations wirelessly, making it simple to provide internet signaling and control systems without running physical cables inside or outside the train. And communication over oceans is also possible. So, while the satellite microwaves are more common for ocean links, terrestrial microwave towers along coastlines or on ships or offshore platforms, they can also connect over water for certain ranges, avoiding undersea cable costs. So, these are few drawbacks. The transmitting and receiving antennas, they must have clear unobstructed path between them, then only you can see this line of sight arrangement in that. This becomes a problem because hills, tall buildings, or even the curvature of the earth can block the signal, requiring more towers or careful placement. And then weather interference, say if there is any heavy rain, fog, or snow, they can weaken the microwave signals. In bad weather, the signal quality and data rate may drop, leading to communication delays or loss. Then we have distance limitations. A single microwave link can usually cover only 30 to 50 kilometers before the signal weakens too much. For longer distances, multiple repeater towers are required, which increases cost and complexity. And setting up towers, antennas, and high quality transmitters requires a large amount of investment. This can be expensive for small projects or in rural areas with fewer users to share the cost. And then maintenance. The towers and antennas need regular inspection, calibration, and repair. Skilled technicians are required, and maintenance in remote or hazardous areas can be difficult and costly. Then limited bandwidth. So microwaves have less data capacity compared to modern fiber optic systems. For very high speed internet or huge data transfers, the bandwidth limit can become a bottleneck. And the next one is satellite microwave. So this is the image of that. You can find uplink station, downlink station. So this uplink station is the earth station or the transmitter which uses dish antenna to send signals to the satellite. So this is a dish antenna. And the uplink frequency here is 6 gigahertz. Higher frequency is used for uplink because it can carry more data and handle high power transmission from Earth to space. And there is a satellite transponder which is located on the communication satellite in geostationary orbit, which is 22,300 miles above the Earth. And this transponder is a device that receives the uplink signal, amplifies it, changes the frequency to avoid interference between this uplink and downlink, and retransmits the signal. So after amplification, it will retransmit the signal back to the Earth. And there is a downlink station, which is a Earth station receiver. Another dish antenna receives the signal from the satellite. The downlink frequency here it is 4 gigahertz. Lower frequency is used for downlink because it experiences less atmospheric attenuation, making it easier to receive weaker signals. And why this distance is 22,300 miles? So this is a geostationary satellite orbit height. At this altitude, the satellite orbits the Earth once in every 24 hours, staying fixed relative to a point on Earth. So here, information that can be either in the form of voice, video, or data is converted into a radio signal at the uplink station and transmitted at 6 gigahertz. The satellite's responder receives it, shifts it to 4 gigahertz, and sends it back to the downlink station. The downlink station picks up the signal, processes it, and delivers it to the intended communication network. So it's a communication satellite which acts as a microwave station, and it is mainly used to link two or more ground waves. Then, as we saw, we are using two terms called uplink and downlink with different frequencies, one for sender station and one for receiver station. And these are few advantages. First one is wide coverage. So single satellite, it can cover a very large geographic area, even entire continent also. And this is ideal for connecting remote or regular or rural regions where installing cables is expensive or impossible. Then satellites can transmit signals over thousands of kilometers without the need for multiple repeaters. So this is considered to be perfect for intercontinental calls or international TV broadcasting and global internet connectivity. And satellite links are generally stable and not easily affected by geographical obstacles like mountains or oceans. And also it ensures consistent communication in both urban and remote locations. A satellite can send a signal to many receivers at a time, which is nothing but broadcasting. So, this is considered to be great for TV and radio broadcasts, weather data distribution, and GPS signals. Then, It can quickly connect locations without requiring to lay physical infrastructure. So it can be considered to be the best one for temporary events, disaster recovery, or military operations where quick deployment is essential. And these are few drawbacks of satellite microwave communication. One is high cost. Satellite construction is extremely expensive, involving advanced materials, complex electronics, and precise engineering. And even for launching, also, the launch cost can run into millions of dollars because rockets and specialized facilities are required to place the satellites in orbit. And even for ground station equipment or maintenance and replacement, everything becomes very costly. Then you can find some kind of signal delay. So satellites in geostationary orbit are positioned about 35,786 kilometers above the Earth's surface. So here the microwave signals must travel from the ground station to up to the satellite and then back to another ground station. So this round trip causes a propagation delay of about 240 to 280 milliseconds. So for some applications like real-time voice or video calls or online gaming, this delay can cause uh, any echo or noticeable lag. Next is weather sensitivity. Satellite microwaves, especially those in higher frequency bands, are highly susceptible to atmospheric conditions. Say, if there is heavy rainfall, that rainfall absorbs and scatters these microwave signals. In that way, they'll weaken the signal strength. Also, snow, fog, and storms, they can even degrade the performance.